Let's face it, the PlayStation Vita since its debut in 2011/2012 has not sold well in comparison to Nintendo's 3DS, despite being an awesome piece of hardware. The Vita is currently in a catch-22, where presumably developers aren't developing games for it because there are not enough units in circulation, and consumers aren't buying it because of its narrow library, which, like it or not, Nintendo and mobile apps have the edge on it. I for one love it and thoroughly enjoy my time with it. Despite all that, Sony is taking steps to boost sales, such as the 2013 price cut, a new slimmer model with an LCD display, longer battery life and better than nothing internal memory. Yeah, we'll talk more about that memory in a bit. Also, PS4 games have to offer cross-play streaming functionality by Sony and PlayStation Vita TV, where you can play your PlayStation Vita games on the big screen, and other cool functionality. Last but not least, in October, Sony released a brand new 64GB memory card, which, long story short, if you are a PlayStation Vita owner, this is a must-have and an encouragement for any prospective handheld buyer. Why am I doing this video, you may or may not ask? Well, despite the brilliant move Sony made to release the card of this capacity, they unfortunately have no plans to release it overseas. I really wanted one, but I couldn't bring myself to buy a 32GB card because A, it's not big enough to host my library, and B, well, in reality they are either scarce or expensive in the UK despite the price drop. I was really apprehensive about buying an accessory this expensive, for what it is, especially if the only option to obtain one was to import it. There were several questions I had that I could either not find a concrete answer or it was region specific. They were, how much actual memory does this card store? Well, obviously what it says on the packet, right? 64GB? Short answer, no. Rarely do you find a memory as advertised. For example, I bought a 500GB external hard drive and it had 35GB less than what it said on the tin. There is a technical reason for this and it's not misleading, though the latter is somewhat subjective. Well, on screen it's 59GB, which is a freaking godsend in comparison to the 7.6GB I was working with before, believe me. The second question is this region free? I've cited several forums that say it is, but most were from users residing in the United States. I don't know if it will work in every region, though I'm happy to confirm it does work on EU and US Vitas. It's a safe assumption it's region free given the regions it does support, however I simply cannot speak for any other region. The third question was, how much should I pay? This is subjective because it depends on where you personally draw the line. Some retailers, ignoring the shipping costs, will try to grotesquely overcharge you. A reasonably priced and straightforward method I found was from buying it from PlayAsia.com, a video game and merchandise retailer that sells games and hardware from multiple regions. The recommended retail price in Japan for this is 10,479 yen, which equates to, as of recording this video, $102, £62.41, 75.15 euros, and 114.31 Australian dollars. These prices do not factor applied taxes, so in the UK, our 20% VAT brings this up to £74.89. Now I'd like to show you a comparison of my Vita with an 8GB memory card, followed by my 64GB card. It currently hosts Persona 4 Golden, retail version, Gravity Rush, Ninja Gaiden Sigma Plus, Muramasa Rebirth, and Uncharted Golden Abyss, with less than 100MB remaining, which the Vita will notify you if you have 40MB or less. The new slim PlayStation Vitas feature 1GB of internal memory. My recommendation is to reserve the space for applications and updates as opposed to downloadable content. Now I hate multiple cards because, well, if you look how small these cards are, I'm the type of person who will misplace it if I have to keep interchanging them regardless of how careful I try to be. This is my 64GB with a random selection of games I've downloaded. As I'm about to show you, I have more than 10GB remaining and currently have over 30 games, which I'll list by name and memory size on the screen. As a matter of fact, the 24 games I showed before can all fit on this memory card with memory to spare. To conclude, I think this card is great and I think it's ludicrous that Sony hasn't made any plans to release this overseas. I think you need to set aside any reservations regarding the price because it's never, for me at least, going to have a deep enough price cut. And though I love how much I can host, I can imagine by the end of 2014 I would have exceeded the capacity limit and will be wanting a 128GB card. I love not having to delete my games and download them back and forth, and having the peace of mind of having it all on one single card as opposed to swapping multiple cards, eliminating misplacement. This obviously is not an option for everyone, so I recommend keeping an eye out for the 32GB models or looking into some 8 or 16GB cards that actually come with some games Sony calls mega packs, which there is a console and 8GB bundle that I bought that comes with 10 great games including Little Big Planet Vita. I give the PlayStation Vita 64GB memory card a 9 out of 10. Thanks for watching, I'll see you later.